Well done, everybody. Now, please welcome to the stage your MC for this evening, Mr. Parker Todd.
Hey, all right. And I said, hey. What a wonderful kind of day. Thank you so much for coming to the Humor You Care Week show. All right. Woo, yeah. I like this. This guy's going to carry the show, dude. I'm calling it right now. But no, honestly, thank you all so much for coming to tonight's show. If you didn't know already, all of our proceeds will be going to the Trevor Project, which is a cause that we really care about and believe in. And so we're really grateful to have you. And because of that, we want to give you the best show possible, which I think we're going to be able to do. So let's get right to it. As MC, I am going to start with my comedy that I wrote because nobody can stop me. All right. I don't know if you can tell by the way I'm dressed, but I'm getting older. And it's something I'm starting to get a little bit self-conscious about, not because I can't do stuff anymore, but because I'm not called a young man or a handsome boy by 70-year-old women anymore. And I've learned that that's what I tie my self-worth to. Big thing about me. Something about going from 22 to 23 years old just changes the perspective of everybody 70 plus about me. And that has been hard. It has left a literal hole in my heart. And I've tried to fill it through lots of things. I went to a nursing home, not to help people or anything lame like that. No, I want to fill the hole in my heart where 70-year-old lady compliments used to be. And I got kicked out because of all the begging. So now in the morning, I'm reduced to going up to the mirror and repeating my self-affirmations. You are a handsome boy. Look how tall you've grown. Why are stamps so expensive? Gets me through it. I'm an advertising major, and the number one question you get as an advertising major is, oh yeah, like marketing, right? Which that's the most annoying thing in the whole world, because there is a big difference between the two. Now, can I explain the difference to you in words? No. Can I explain you the difference through song? Oh. No, I cannot. But every single major, anybody that's taking a major instantly becomes the de facto expert in that subject, right? Let me give you a couple examples to explain what I mean. If you're a graphic design major, whenever you're out, you're expected to give your opinion on every single poster that you see. If you're a computer science major, you're expected to just teach all of the science to computers, right? And if you're a family studies major, you're blamed for your parents' divorce. It's gonna happen. And for an advertising major, the only time that we get to be contributing members of society is one day in February, which is the Super Bowl, right? Anytime a player is injured or there's a timeout or Travis Kelce just can't shake it off, we get to be in the limelight. Somebody will ask you, oh, shoot, what do you think of this commercial? And then it's my turn to go, why, yes. Oh, Tom Brady was in this commercial because he's been known to play the football. I paid tuition for that. Oh, yes. Ooh, Temu. Yeah, that's going to be our generation's Beethoven's Fifth. You watch. And the Michael Cera video brought me to tears. I bawled, and I will be doing my senior thesis on it. People have been getting upset about AI art recently because apparently it steals work from other people and uses it to make their own stuff to give out as prompts, which, first off, I don't know if you know how art works, but I'm pretty sure that's everybody. Have you ever heard of a reference before? I mean, how do you think? I can't draw hands. Can you expect a computer to do it? No. And I think that the computers are just upset because nobody is making art for computers. We ask them every single day to make some random garbage for us, and we never give anything in return. at least until tonight. For I've prepared a couple pieces that I hope the computer overlords will find very appealing. I'll go ahead and display them now. Yes, it really speaks to the heart of my subject, I feel. This one took a really long time. Next one, please. A little nostalgia, a little something, keep them going. This one speaks for itself. It's beautiful. Anyway, I just made that, to just help the computers get along in their day-to-day grind. And I really wanted to tap into what makes AI art special, so I stole a bunch of computers from my dad, and all of those images are ripped off of Google. So there you go. Be on the lookout for that. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna finish there. All right. Thank you guys so much. That's my set. Yeah, and we play the music, but I'm not going anywhere. Perfect. Okay, as MC, it's my turn now to just introduce everybody that's going to go on and then run off as fast as I can. So, our first comedian is longtime favorite of the club. Please give it up for Zach Flynn.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, Parker said I was a longtime favorite. This is my second show. What is a long time to you? Okay. Anyway, how are you guys doing tonight? Good? Yeah. Better than me, that's good, cool. That's a joke. All right, here's the thing, folks. I don't hate my family, but I don't necessarily love everything that they do either. So I went home over the holidays. I'm from Georgia. And I was spending New Year's with my family. And we were watching the ball drop. And after the ball drop, CNN always shows like a kiss for the new year. And it was a white dude and a black dude kissing. And I saw it and I was like, it's just two people kissing. My parents saw it. And they're like, of course, this is exactly what they're going to show. And my grandma was like, yeah, I know. I can't believe they showed an interracial kiss. And I'm like, what's going on here? I know you guys are from a different time, but you've also lived in this time. Like, it's not weird, right? Like, also, it's New York. I don't think that was a political statement. I think that was just the first people the camera panned to. Like, I don't think you have to get that mad. I don't know. My parents were weird. They're the type of people that when I was 12, they came home and they were like, hey, you want to go out to a movie? And I was like, nah, I'm good. And they're like, it'll be fun. It's the new Harry Potter. And I was like, all right. And then they took me to Twilight and laughed. So, I don't know. Now that I'm in college, my parents want me to get married. They're like really pushing for it. And they keep on getting these people to give me dating advice. And here's the thing. I am sick and tired of married people giving me dating advice. Because you did it correctly once. Like, you get what I mean on that? No other thing would you take that dude's opinion. You wouldn't watch somebody miss 432 dunks, then magically slam one in and be like, hey, yo, tell me about your form. Like, no. No. You're going to congratulate him on finally finding a basket willing to lower its rim. Like, it's just what it is. And even when it's not luck, it's always some hot dude who's like, be yourself. No, shut up. You're not some 5'5" balding idiot. You don't know. Do you know how funny you have to be to make up 7 inches? Way funnier than I am. I figured that one out. I know that one to be true. No, give me some 15-time D4C who looks like Gilbert Godfrey. That's who I need. That's my champion, all right? Anyway, that's been my time.
All right, thank you, Zach. As a married man myself, I will say no married man knows how they do it, so just don't ask them. All right, next up on our list, we have the amazing Allison West. Give it up.
Good evening, Provo. So, seeing the other comics outside of the club is a little bit like seeing your teacher outside of school. Like, wait, you exist outside of the Maeser Building? I think people talking on the phone forget that we can still hear them. The other day I walked past a guy saying, "So we kill everyone that disagrees with us and indoctrinate the children?" Like, sir, what are you doing? Can I join? Like, I got nothing going on this weekend, and I'm great with kids. I was talking with this guy in my ward about weird things that Utah people do, and one of them is high schoolers will pick a random night every month and just go make out with people on the football field. My high school did it every full moon. Of course, I never went because I'm a werewolf. And you know, being a teen wolf is hard. You have to hide away from society every month, or it's a bloodbath. You start getting these weird mood swings and cramps. It's no. Now you finally check the calendar and you're like, that's why I'm breaking out. It's a waxing gibbous. No. For those of you wondering, it is a full moon tonight, so watch out. Yeah, I got my wisdom teeth out, and now I'm failing all my classes. But the first thing that comes up when you type in how long after wisdom teeth removal until I can blank is make out. So a lot of Utah high school students have gotten their wisdom teeth out recently. And the second one is smoke, neither of which was what I was looking for, but I did check, and it was 72 hours until I could smoke again. Yeah. You know the worst feeling in the world? Getting left on red. You know, you send somebody new a funny little video, the Reddit 914 pops up with no response, and yeah, I had my slam poetry class next after that, so this is what became of it. Waves. Crashing, crashing, crashing. Heart, smashing, smashing, smashing. Betrayal of the highest regard, for I had let down my guard, and was stabbed by the cut of betrayal to fall to the waves, 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 waves. Yeah, I failed that class too. Then they text you back like, I didn't have a chance to see this until later. It's really funny. I'm like, glad you liked it, as I'm frantically pulling the needles out of the voodoo doll. I'm glad it made you laugh, LOL. You know those online workouts and people get really into it, the instructors will? So I was doing one and this lady's like, all right, engage your core. Lady, my core is beyond engaged. It is walking down the aisle as we speak. By the end of it, my core was 2 days into the honeymoon, wondering if it was ready for this kind of commitment. All right, thank you guys.
All right, I couldn't help but notice that we didn't all snap after that poem, so let's get it out now. Thank you, thank you. And I should have some like bongos or something. I'll remember that next show. Next up, we have the person that has been running our music all night. Please give it up for Colin Meldrum.
Everyone else gets a longtime favorite or so funny. All I get is guy runs music every single time. And you know what? Thank you, Parker. That means a lot. I've been watching this TV show recently where a guy turns 30 and then suddenly gains the ability to read minds because he's still a virgin. And you know what? If that's all it takes to get magic powers, somebody call the nunnery. Room for one. And I'm sorry, I apologize to women everywhere because I used to be flying off the shelves, but I guess now I'm going to be a collector's item. No, I've actually been on one date here, my 3 years at BYU, and it was for the girls' assignment, so I'm doing pretty well. If you'd like to know just how low the bar is set for me, my mother recently challenged me to ask out one girl this semester, not to go on a date, mind you, just to get rejected. You can laugh, it's fine. I'm very secure about it. I don't say this so you guys will pity me and be like, oh, maybe if I was into guys that looked like Ben Shapiro. No. Plus, even if, hypothetically, you were to ask me out, it wouldn't even fulfill my mom's requirement. So I'm good. I'll just, I think what I'll do is I'll just wait until the last day of class and ask out my religion professor. Just kidding, guys. He's married. Happily, I assume. I don't know. He doesn't talk to me about it. We're not that close, really. He's more of a school friend. I feel like we've been growing apart lately. What with me skipping class and him banning me from office hours. Oh, what? You want to know how I got banned from office hours? All right, you've dragged it out of me. Let's just say you can get his email on Learning Suite, but I had to find his wife's email on the dark web. Also, he got sick of me saying I was one of the 3 Nephites, which it's impossible to prove that I'm not. I like claiming to be people who aren't prevalent in society. Like, if I told you I was Batman, you might not believe me, but I bet you'd start getting nervous committing crimes at night. Little inkling of fear creeps into your mind. You think you hear something behind you as you walk down Crime Alley, and then there I am, wearing a cape and a mask, because I was just at the Luchador convention. Speaking of my hobbies, I've been playing this game. It's like 100 hours long, so it's got a lot of content and story elements, which is great for the game. It's very fun, but unfortunately, it's led me to thinking everything is a reference to it. Like my friend tells me he got a new cat, and I'm like, no way, there's a cat in the game. It's crazy. What are you talking about? That is the 3rd dialogue option in the 10th conversation you have in the game. The game is Persona 5, for those wondering. Yeah, one person likes that. The main character's name is Joker. He's kind of a self-insert for me because I'm a little bit of a joker myself. That one took me a month to write, so it's fine. It's fine. A lot of the gameplay of Persona is doing menial tasks in order to increase your social stats, like studying or taking a bath. It takes so much time, in fact, that I have to put off my own studying so my fictional character can do it instead. And those of you with sharper ears, I heard some people being like, did he just say he watches that guy take a bath? Yes. But it's pivotal to the game that Joker takes his clothes off, all right? I don't want to hear you judging me about it. And I'm an empath, so I like to shower at the same time as him. Which works great because the Switch is portable. And at this point, some of you are probably like, Joker, isn't that the guy from Batman? Yeah, I'd like to see the Joker take a shower, all right? No. Took a modern art class last semester, and I was not a fan. My professor kept telling us that it wasn't about what the picture looked like, but instead about how it made you feel, which seemed a little ableist to me. If you're not up to date on your Colin lore, I lack the ability to feel emotions. So, needless to say, I felt attacked. Which is the first time I felt anything, really. It was a real breakthrough for me. But I just preferred art when it was pretty pictures instead of the things I see when I drink too much ginger ale. I don't know. I recently learned about this condition called aphantasia, which is when you can't picture objects in your mind. Like, for example, if I told you to picture an apple and you could see it, then you do not have aphantasia. Oh, so just would you please, sir, would you please close your eyes and picture an apple for me? Can you see the apple?
Yes, sir.
Yes. How clearly, vividly can you see this apple?
It's clear.
It's clear. All right, Picasso, let's relax a little bit. It's clear. I'm just a little salty about it because I do have aphantasia, so I can't see it. If you tell me to envision an apple, all I can see is a photorealistic image of Steve Jobs. Yeah. But maybe that's why, but I just don't get art. Like, I was listening to this podcast, and the guy was talking about how a band burned $1 million that they earned, and then he said it was art. So I guess this proves my point that art is a waste of money. Yeah, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Did you hear about the guy who was commissioned to make an art piece for a museum, and all he delivered were a couple blank canvases entitled "Take the Money and Run"? Yeah, apparently that didn't count as art, which I thought was a little rude. Like normally I look at modern art and I think anybody could do that. But this, I wouldn't have the guts to Dear John a museum. All right, that's it for me. Thank you so much.
Let's just say, hypothetically, he did watch that guy take a bath. At least he's bathing. So, there we go. Also, can't do the music, so thank you, Colin. All right. We like to have fun here. Next up, we have the wonderfully talented and very good at comedy, Seth Wong. Give it up.
I'm graduating in April, and there's a lot of things to be excited about in the real world. But one thing I'm not excited about is having to work with others. Like, bad coworkers are like people who sing the national anthem. You can't trust what's going to come out of their mouth. And they all have their own twisted way of performing a simple task. Like, I'd be at work, and I'm like, Jacob, why did you make that quarterly report so provocative? Or, geez, Brooklyn, did you really mean to belt that whole presentation? But it's my last semester here, and I've loved playing intramurals. I think it's funny that it's the only place BYU students are comfortable cussing. Until the ref hears it, because then we're comfortable lying too. Hopefully that didn't hit home, too close to home with anyone. But it gets kind of silly when you realize everyone's getting so heated for a cheap championship t-shirt. And the way intramurals works is that people who are actually good enter a lower division. So then they can get into the easiest tournament and win it all. And like, I'm all for bigger fishes and smaller ponds, but that's like Jabba the Hutt trying on Princess Leia's metal bikini. Like, even if you can pull it off, that's a hard pass. But what I do think BYU should do is start Cougarette intramurals. And I think we'd all be good at that. Like, all we'd have to do is do practically the same dance every time, just like the Cougarettes do. And if you don't believe me, it always starts like this. Got your hands over your knees, got a little sway, then boom, back, crump, crump, a little hair flip, a little body roll to excite the crowd. The only differences in our routines would be whether one, Cosmo is carrying us that day, or two, we get another Nike tracksuit for free. And based on the Nike tracksuits they get, you know the championship t-shirts would be fire. So, just saying. But I make fun of intramurals, but I know I belong in the lower division, right? Like, I'm not that good to drop down just to win. But just to drive my point home, you bragging about dominating the lower division, if you're really good, is like me bragging if I married Margot Robbie when she's 90. Like, context matters. But at the same time, game is game. But even though, like, I'm in the lower division now, like, I was him as a child. Like, I'd race Sean at recess and lap him. And that's with him doing the Naruto run. And he always say, it's because I'm wearing jeans. Like, said every kid that's ever lost a race. So I was like, okay, Sean, then at least put your Crocs in sports mode and make it a challenge for me. And after another round, he's out of breath. He's got his hands on his knees. And I said, get up and have some respect for yourself, Sean. You look like a Cougarette. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, Seth, thank you. He actually had to miss a dance meet today, so we're grateful to have him. All right, next up, longtime member of the club. Please give it up for Felicity Morris.
I do a lot of internet safety training videos at my job. I work grounds, like a grounds worker. I think they're super nervous that I might accidentally download a lawnmower. And I get it, they don't want me spilling, that the soil is mostly cougar eat leftovers. But personally, if you're under 30, you should only do the training like once a hire. And if you're over 50, you should do the training once every 45 minutes. I can't really judge, though. I have lost the password to my brain. You know how in school they would sort you from like left brain people or right brain people, which is their way of sorting the poors from the STEM majors? I think my brain may have been folded hamburger style instead of hot dog. I have no control over my body. I move like someone who did not read the instructions before assembly. I breathe like I'm saving a little bit for later. I actually don't even have a dominant hand. I am ambidextrous. I write with my left and I skateboard with my right. And people are so impressed, but I'm just bad with both hands. I'm antidextrous. Thank you. My brain to mouth connection is worse than Verizon, especially this week. On the first day of school, I told someone that my favorite song was I Wanna Dance with Somebody, sung by Winston Churchill. And it would be cute and quirky, except that my eyes do not close all the way, ever. I can't even fake going to sleep, because when I fake it, I don't look like a cast member of The Walking Dead. And the scientists have tried to figure out why I'm like this. They're in between that I was born a couple months late, or my dad is definitely a robot. I don't have daddy issues. I do have questions. Daddy questions. Like, did business school make him like this, or did he come out of the womb with a dry, clean suit on? Just freshly pressed. Like, my dad's texting style is affectionate HR email. He'll say that he loves me. He'll also just say, Mark Morris, MBA. He tries to give me a lot of lessons, but not really for life, but for marketing. I think he's trying, it's his version of praying the social scientist away. Once he made me listen to country music for 3 hours so I could better understand the consumer. It's like he's in a movie where he is a mentor to someone who eventually becomes the daughter that he never had. Except I am the daughter that he currently has. He once told me that he was happier that I went back to college than when he got into Harvard Business School, which is a coincidence because I was happier that he got into Harvard Business School. The only time he acts like a normal person is when he watches football. My dad treats watching football like it's its own sport. He stands up the entire time with his arms crossed because, as he says, faith without works is dead. And instead of cheering like a normal person, he just goes with eyes of stone. Yes, this does please my circuits. But I really do love my dad, and I try to tell him every time I see him, I'm just, Dad. Thank you.
Thank you, Felicity. I do the same thing when I watch football, but, it's me, so I'm just going, Dunkin' Donuts! Anyway, our next comedian is brought to you by Ryan Reynolds. He didn't actually pay us any money. I just like his stuff. Please give it up for James Taylor.
I want to do, as my first joke, an impression. Are you ready? Okay, good. This is an impression of me if I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings. Hi, my name is James, but you can call me Red Bull, 'cause I give you wings. I got a girlfriend. She's a model. You might know her work from the women's bathroom sign. I helped pick the triangle she's wearing. She was wearing a rhombus, and I was like, let's keep it classy. It's kind of hard to go places because people always recognize her, and they always assume she knows where the bathroom is. It's like expecting Chris Rock to know the location of every rock. Expecting Dwayne Johnson to know the location of every rock. It's like expecting Kevin Bacon to know the location of every rock. I got a lot of pictures of her hung up around my house, but it makes it kind of confusing because it's like every door leads to a women's bathroom. So a lot of women wandering around and a lot of guys just holding it in. I found a piece of candy on the ground the other day, and I was like, don't eat that, because I think probably someone put heroin in there. I heard they do that. I heard they put heroin in the candy so that you eat the candy and thereby the heroin, therefore becoming addicted to heroin. And so then you buy heroin from them because now you're addicted to heroin. And, if I had eaten the candy, I don't think it would have worked on me, because I wouldn't just assume that I was eating heroin. I would have thought I just had the greatest airhead of my life. And then I'd be, chasing the wrong dragon all around, and that would be a whole mess. But what I think they can do is notify the public. So I've drafted up a little letter here that I would like the cartels to use. So anyone with cartel info, come talk to me after the show. It says, to whom it may concern, you may notice as you ingest this Airheads candy that it feels really good to eat. I am here to inform you that we, your local drug dealers, have taken upon ourselves the courtesy of injecting a little heroin into this candy. It comes at great personal cost and is sourced from organic poppies grown in the Fertile Crescent, the cradle of civilization, on the banks of the mighty Euphrates. We hope you enjoy this luxury and hope to acquire your business for all future drug-related needs. Signed, with love, Frankie Mermaid, Chief Marketing Officer. Sometimes I like to cook and eat the meal that I would get if I was on death row to celebrate my freedom. But if I was on death row, I think I'd approach it a little different from most people. I'd want to try something new that I've never had before. You know, like a new food. It's my last chance to do that. And if I don't like it, guess I'll die. But I'd want to do it in a cool way too, you know, like a YouTuber would. So I'm like, I'll tell the guards, give me every flavor of Doritos in a blindfold. I watched a death row documentary, and I was surprised because all the guys there had cats living in their cells with them. And I was like, what's the deal with all these cats? And then I realized that that's probably the only animal that you could tell, hey, you know that guy you've been living with for the last 6 years? We killed him. And you'd be like, you okay? You got like a laser or something? What does a cat even do to end up in federal prison, you know? Thinking outside the box of the litter variety? Drugging airheads? I don't know. I'm not a cat. When I imagine what it's like to be on death row, I think of like the weight on your soul that it is to know the exact moment when it's all gonna end, you know? Like I imagine it's like waking up 5 minutes before the alarm. 'Cause that's how I feel then too. Some people, when they eat their last meal, they get to watch a movie. Like one guy watched Lord of the Rings, which is pretty good, not great. The correct answer is this Swedish film called Logistics. It's 857 hours long. So for me, it would be between that, or I would watch Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire in the costume. I just really want to see how much I can get away with, you know? At what point do I stop being a death row inmate and become a Make-A-Wish child? All right, thanks, guys.
On behalf of Humor You, I would like to apologize for James bouncing off the walls there. He ate an entire bag of Airheads, so hope that everything's all right with him. Next up, our next comedian is brought to you by this stool, which so far has gone untouched. Please give it up for Lily Warnock.
Hi guys. Growing up, my sister had these two imaginary friends. Their names were Yoko and Kunis. And one day she just randomly stopped talking about them, and my dad was like, what happened to Yoko and Kunis? And she told us that they had died in war. So, yeah. I had an imaginary friend growing up. Her name was Kesha, the American pop idol, yes. I had never seen her before, though, so I pictured her as a brunette with pigtails, and I saw her for the first time in a music video when I was 8, and I was, first of all, shocked to see that she had dyed her hair blonde. Second of all, very disappointed to see that she was drinking beer. That is against the word of wisdom, Kesha, and you know that. Not the Kesha that I remember. My dad, over the break, he told me to make a list of 3 men that I could potentially see myself marrying by the end of the year. And when he asked it, I was like, are you going to get me men for Christmas? And in that moment, my mind went completely blank. I was so flustered. The only man I could remember interacting with was my bishop. Yeah, which I did not think was very appropriate. So I came back to my parents with a list of 3 beautiful male characters from my favorite TV shows. I love to watch TV. I like to watch TV shows with hot people in them because those are the only kind of people I can feel empathy for. Yeah. Sorry. Ugly people. This is why I couldn't get into Breaking Bad, though. Because Walter White, I don't care that you have cancer and your life is falling apart. You are bald. If I wanted to keep up with the life and times of a middle-aged man with a receding hairline who hates his job, I would just call my dad. Okay? Yeah. I don't usually seek that out in my leisure time. But I do. I have an innate and primal fear of bald men. I struggle to see them as real people with thoughts and feelings. Okay, a lot of bald people in the crowd tonight. But I started going to therapy last semester, unrelated to the bald man thing, though it certainly became relevant. And I called to set up some appointments. And in my head, before I called, I was like, I'm going to ask for a female therapist. I want to talk to a woman. No offense, men. I love men. A man gave birth to me. But I wanted to talk to a girl. So I called them, and I told them the times I was available. And the receptionist lady on the phone, she was like, okay, we have someone available at those times. His name is Steve. Is that okay for you? Now, Steve, typically a man's name, and I did recognize this when I was on the phone, but I was like, yes, I would love to talk to Steve. Call me Hero Brian, the way that I would love to be alone in a small room with a man named Steve. So I said this because I didn't know I could say no. I was afraid I was going to hurt her feelings. So in the days leading up to my first session, I was trying to think positive. I love to think positive. It's my favorite thing. So I was like, you know what? Maybe Steve's a really cool guy. Maybe he's a great guy. I go in for my first session. Steve is a bald man. And in that moment, I decided to approach it like exposure therapy. I didn't tell Steve this. He did not need to know. But I was like, maybe this will be good. Maybe this will show me that bald men can be good people too. Yeah, actually what it turned into was me being mad at him for asking me questions. Yeah, his job. So, but he would be like, how was your week? What did you do today? What do you want to talk about? And I'd be like, do you have a crush on me, Steve? Okay. Why do you need to know about my whereabouts? I would get mad at him for following up with things that I had said in previous weeks because, Steve, you are 50 and I used to be a minor, okay? So I don't know why you need to know what I'm doing. Therapy with me is like finding a 5'4" raccoon in your backyard, and you try to approach the raccoon gently and softly because you just want to relocate it. But the raccoon thinks that you're trying to seduce it, and yeah, it has deep-rooted issues with you being a 50-year-old bald man. So doors have become a struggle for me lately. I have to brace myself to open doors on campus now. I was telling a professor about this. He told me those are the handicap doors. They're harder to open and close. That's not true, because why would they make the handicap doors harder to open? No. My theory is that they're trying to keep women out of upper-level education. Yep. Yeah, wait, why are we clapping? Wait. Yeah, it is working, though, because if I cannot get those doors open on the first pull, I am going home. So that's my set, guys. Thanks.
It's not actually for women, it's for the bald people. So gotta work on that. Anyway, thank you all so much for sticking around so far. We've got another wonderful comic for you right now. Please give it up for Evan Smith.
Hey everyone, how we doing? Good. Okay, so I'm from Dallas, Texas. I know what you're thinking. I'm not very big. Imagine how small I'd be if I was from Oklahoma. When I tell people I'm from Dallas, I get some weird responses. There are some people who are like, "Oh, the Cowboys suck." Just like, okay, I'll tell Coach McCarthy next time I see him at Buc-ee's. But then everyone else is just like, oh, your words mean nothing to me. Because it's not a bad city. It just doesn't have much going for it. It's like Toy Story 2, you know? It could... Oh, whoa. We got some Toy Story 2 fans here. Okay, well, I'll skip the next line. Texas, in general, is like if Whataburger was a state. I told that to a friend, and they were like, hey, Texas has great sunsets. Oh, so the best part about Texas is when it gets dark, so you don't have to look at Texas anymore? It's like how my favorite school subject was recess, which is probably related to going to school in Texas. Anyone here driven through West Texas? Yeah, don't. It's like a Minecraft super flat world, except without the grass. Or Hero Brian. West Texas is so flat, okay, it makes me look curvy. Like, capital K curvy. So, a couple years ago, I was driving through West Texas, and I stopped on the side of the road to pee on a bush. I'm just joking, guys. There's no bush. It's just me peeing in a dry field. But don't worry, because I peed in the direction of traffic, and no one in Texas checks their mirrors. So I do my thing, and I get back in the car, and I thought I started it, but I guess it was still in park. Because it's so flat, I sat there for an hour and a half thinking I was moving. And Texans love their state so much that their hotels have Texas-shaped waffle makers. This is true, yeah. I went to Colorado one time, and they had Colorado-shaped waffle makers. Then I realized those waffles are everywhere. Step aside, Belgium. Colorado is dominating the industry. This ain't fun and games. Colorado-shaped things are ubiquitous. School pizza, my PS2, doors in Minecraft. What's next? Rectangular weed? Too late, weed brownies. So, speaking of things I accidentally ate in high school, I used to get okra and orca mixed up, which is a problem because I'm vegan. I can't tell you how many times I accidentally got the fried orca at Cracker Barrel. Being a vegan from Texas is hard because I don't know which one to be annoying about first. So I've started doing both at the same time. Like last week I was in my F-150 with a PETA bumper sticker on my way to get plant-based brisket with avocado toast, carrying my ethically sourced bamboo shotgun. When I tell people I'm vegan, they're shocked. Like, wait, so you've never eaten bacon? You haven't even snuck a little when no one's watching? That's like if you were a virgin, let's say, and I was like, what? But you have cheat days, right? Being a vegan means I know nothing about meat. Like, I was at a restaurant with this girl that I've known for a while now. It's my sister. And she gets up to go to the bathroom because I'm not her top priority. And right then the waiter comes, so I get my fried orca and a burger for her. And he's like, how does she want it cooked? I'm like, I didn't know you cooked burgers. Why then do you have this raw meat warning on the menu? That's for the sushi. Why do you have sushi? You're a Cracker Barrel. It's like if they had sushi in the Wilk. So he's like, okay, there's rare, medium rare. Oh, so like Pokemon. Let's go with legendary. And I know it's weird, like me being a vegan, because I don't exactly give off the lifestyle mommy blogger vibe, even though I do own a mommy blog. But, you know, that's what I love about life. Everyone's different, you know? Nothing in this world is black and white, except for my fried Oreo. All right, thanks everyone.
All right, thank you, Evan. I will tell you that those things are true that he said in his set. He is from Texas. He is a vegan, and he does have a mommy blog. It's evansmith3175923.blogspot.com/Evan S. All right. Hope y'all got that the first time. Okay. Next up, we have another longtime favorite, awesome, pretty good at comedy comedian. Please give it up for Cindy Teasley. I was completely wrong. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Okay. I will be editing my Google Doc later. Please give it up for the also awesome and amazing longtime member. Please forgive me, Thane Laker.
I was out there like, yeah, I guess I'd skip me too. That's all right. It's all right, Parker. So guys, I recently took a career placement test because about 75 credits into college is generally when you want to start picking out a major. And it comes back about an hour later saying that I should be a dance instructor without ever asking the question like, hey kid, have you ever danced once in your entire life? And the problem is definitely with the questions, because every single one is like, what sounds best? Land surveying, data processing, or spending time with friends. Okay, so you chose the social option, much like a dance instructor would. We had a career day in middle school once. You got like a fake job, fake salary, and then could buy stuff like health insurance and a car. I don't know whose idea it was to give a bunch of middle schoolers a midlife crisis. But the gimmick was you could only have a high-paying job if you had a high GPA, which I did, but I wanted to be an author whose average salary is like 10 grand because that's how much we value literature. Apparently they didn't want me to stress it because come career day, I'm given a slip of paper that's like, you have an imaginary wife who is making high six-figure salary. And to be clear, this is not like part of the game. Somebody just seriously bet that I would learn the right lesson from pretending to be a trophy husband for a day. Even my teachers are like, this doesn't seem fair to the other kids. I'm like, yeah, welcome to life. Ever heard of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? I rest my case. I thought snapping might get a laugh. But those are my options. So I can either like become a dance instructor or find myself a sugar mama. And of my cousins, that's still one of the better career plans. My family reunions get weird, you guys. I thought my uncle was going to get kicked out of the family last week because he brought a dog indoors. I think my mom would have responded better if he would have shown up with a woman that like wasn't my aunt. She'd been like, yeah, it's a bummer for Stacy, but the new girl's using a coaster. This dog's going wild. He's chewing on everything, and my uncle the whole time was just like, what are you going to do? Dogs will be dogs. I'm like, yeah, well, imagine if I brought like a bear into your house. Like, of course he's mauling people. Bears will be bears. I don't know what you expected to happen when I brought this bear into your house. I'm just surprised he hasn't killed more people, to be honest. And it's always funny hearing your parents talk at these things. Like, it got brought up that my mom taught me how to drive. There's a big difference between teaching someone to drive and screaming bloody murder while somebody learns to drive. My mom would start to scream before I even started the car. Even at stoplights, I could just hear her like, If we got above 35 miles per hour, she would start looking like somebody who's in a fighter jet for the first time. Like, I'm like, Mom, you have to stay with me. I do not know how to park. You have to stay awake. There was one time I was feeling pretty good. We were on Bangalore. I hadn't almost caused a crash in a few minutes. Things were going great. And my mom, out of nowhere, just yanks the steering wheel. And I correct, like, we're fine. But I'm like, Mom, what was that? Apparently, we had started drifting towards the other lane, and her solution was to hopefully roll the car in the other direction. Like, she felt it was too late for us, but maybe we could save others if we crashed in the shoulder. I think I completed like 3 hours of my 40 required hours with a parent driving. I wasn't being lazy, I just thought it would be safer. And my mom would ask me, like, hey, aren't we supposed to drive more together? I'd be like, no, they changed it. That's all for me, guys. Thank you.
All right, yeah. Today I learned that I also tie my self-worth to getting the comedians in the correct order. So there's that. Thank you, Thane. That was amazing. Next up, I'm just going to hold my phone. I ain't playing this facade anymore. Okay, yeah, Cindy, you can come up now. Please give it up for Cindy Teasley.
I was going to come up earlier, but then I was like, this isn't my song. How's everyone going to know what a good kisser I am? So I figured I'd wait it out. Provo, how are we doing? Okay, that was a little weak. But that's okay. Provo, the non-committal makeout capital of the world. Let's talk about it. I don't understand this cultural phenomenon where everyone in Provo wants to have a non-committal makeout session. Meanwhile, all I want is a non-makeout commitment session. Okay, because the commitment is my favorite part, okay? Kissing is gross. Look, the French people gave us 2 things, French kissing and eating snails. And no one wants to talk about the fact that they kind of feel the same. And it's not like I'm not a cool, chill girl, okay? Like, I would be into other non-committal things, like non-committal hugging, or non-committal hand-holding, or non-committal meeting each other's parents. Like, I'm chill. I'm cool. I think we as a society are grossly underestimating the value of the non-committal handhold, because a couple weeks ago, I got my nails done, and I had a male nail tech, which, nail tech, by the way, is what they call the person who paints your nails. I think it sounds a little too fancy for what it is, you know? Like, I think the STEMification of job titles has gone a bit far. Nail tech makes it sound like they graduated with a bachelor's degree in computer science and a minor in slayology. Like, anyway, I had this male nail tech, and most romantic experience of my life, okay? Because I just sat there for an hour while he held my hand, and it was magical. Best part is, he only spoke Korean, so he just didn't talk. Which I found to be a very attractive quality in a man. They say in relationships, communication is key, but with most of the guys I've gone out with, I found that the key is that they do not communicate at all. I don't know, I've just had too many experiences where a guy opens his mouth and says something like, hey, isn't it weird there's no White History Month? And that's when I say, I kind of wish you only spoke Korean. Anyway, so my birthday is coming up, which means I am approaching the age at which Leonardo DiCaprio will no longer find me attractive. Which is a tough pill to swallow for some women, but I think they are forgetting the crucial detail that Leonardo DiCaprio is kind of ugly. So I'm not gonna lose too much sleep over it. I don't mind getting older. I don't hate being an adult. People are always hating on being an adult. They're like, adulting sucks. Adulting's the worst. Adulting makes me want to start a cult where we set ourselves on fire, which are all valid things to think. But I think people are forgetting how much it sucked to be a kid. Because as a kid, first of all, you get no respect. Now I'm an adult. I still get no respect, but I can drive. kid, it's super annoying because you have to like respect your elders. Respect your elders. Who told you that? Let me guess. An old person? Figures. Do you remember when you were a kid and you would get into an argument with an adult and then you would be making some really good points and then all of a sudden they'd just be like, end of discussion. Whoa, 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 why are we ending the discussion now? I was kind of on a roll. I had a closing statement prepared. The other one they'd say is, don't get smart with me. Don't get smart with you? Oh. Where was this attitude 2 days ago when I didn't want to go to school? Sure seemed to care about my education then. Anyway, you can have a lot more fun as an adult. I don't know if you guys remember being a kid and like trying to ride the shopping cart like a scooter. And your parents would always be like, hey, stop that. And you'd be like, why? And they'd be like, you're not supposed to. And you'd be like, why? And they wouldn't have a good answer. Yeah, turns out there's actually no rule against that. You can go do it after the show. No one's going to stop you. And it's just as much fun as you think it's going to be. Like gliding through the aisles of Walmart while the wind whips through my hair is the most fun I've had as an adult. No man has ever thrilled me as much as a shopping cart has. Anyway, I didn't have a terrible childhood. I grew up in like a really happy home. I mean, I was clinically depressed, but everyone else was super happy. So one of the weirdest memories I had was when in elementary school, this woman came to perform for us, and she was a mime. And her husband came as well. He was also a mime, but she was kind of the star of the mime duo, which I think is the way I'd do it as well. But she did this whole little routine where she acted out how she was addicted to smoking and how difficult it was for her to overcome. And then after, she was like, yeah, I was addicted to smoking and it almost ruined my life. And that's why I wanted to become a mime, so I could share my story. Which is great, but like, I feel like there's a lot of other ways you could have shared your story. Like there's not just like this natural progression from like struggling nicotine addict to motivational mime. Like, that'd be like saying, oh, you know, my mom died when I was 8 and then my dad became so emotionally distant that I had to raise all 5 siblings on my own. So naturally I had to become a performative unicyclist. Like, okay. Also, if you're passionate about sharing your story, why did you do the one thing where you're not supposed to talk? I think she did it for the men. And it worked! Her husband is a mime. They perform together. Which, of all the French things to do with your husband, ... Okay, thank you guys. I'm Cindy Thompson.
I do have a quick disclaimer about the shopping cart thrilling. If you're more my size, be sure to buy a couple gallons of milk before you try it. Okay, our last comic here is the final comedian of the night. Please give it up for Tyler Bevan.
I was still filling out that survey. Hey everybody, before I start, I just want to say thank you so much for coming out. You know, we love telling jokes, and so it's great to be able to do it in front of a live audience, so thank you so much. We could not do this without you guys. Give yourselves a round of applause. That's great. So I've been trying to be a lot healthier recently. I've been trying to sleep more, so I listen to this guided meditation before I go to bed. And it's really nice. It's just this voice in my ear that's like, breathe in. Now breathe out. Breathe out. Now breathe out. Breathe out. Now breathe out. Keep breathing out. Breathe out more. About a minute of that and I'm out like a light. It's like magic. Another healthy thing, I've heard it's really healthy for men to cry, like the old saying, like healthy men cry. Has anyone heard that? Yeah. I think, I mean, that's really good news for me, Like I may not exercise or eat fruit, but I cry all the time, Sometimes when I'm not even sad. That's how healthy I am. Like sometimes I'll just stare at the sun to feel something. So yeah, I think I'm doing pretty fine. I've been trying to eat a lot healthier too. A lot of people tell me, oh yeah, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full. And I don't think that's the right way to talk to an addict. Right? Like, oh yeah, eat whatever you want. But then, the part of you that wants to stop eating? I'm like, no, I've never met that guy. Like the only reason I stop eating is because the people at the buffet threatened to call the cops. Like our bodies didn't evolve to keep us healthy. Our bodies evolved to maximize storage so that when the mammoths fly south for the winter, we wouldn't die. Do you think I'd have this issue if every time I was hungry I'd have to kill a mammoth? I don't think so. The largest animal that I could take on personally is a deer, a small one. And even then it's like a toss-up, I've thought about this a lot. I've been trying to eliminate stress from my life, which apparently isn't possible. Like you can always limit stress, but you can never eliminate stress. Like eventually at some point, I will have to use someone else's restroom. And that's always an uncomfortable situation for me. I try to speed through it like, hey, can I use your restroom real quick? Real quick, just use your restroom real quick. I always add that to my requests, is real quick. As if the speed at which I go is going to change their answer in any way. Like, oh yeah, go ahead. You have 2 minutes. Your time starts now. No, they're going to let me go regardless. I don't need to saunter over like, hey, I'm going to perform a little bathroom speed run. It's going to be really fast. Listen, the speed at which I will evacuate my bowels. That's usually when people interrupt me. Like, yeah, go ahead. It's fine. Some people get angry too. Like, you don't need to ask me. You don't need to ask me to go. And I guess that's true on some level. Like, you're not allowed to say no. So I guess it's not really a question, but I'm just trying to be polite. Like, I suppose next time I should just slam my hand down like, I'm going to poop in your toilet. The rules of etiquette dictate that you cannot stop me. And you know what? I'm gonna take my sweet time. Maybe I'll rifle through your things, unscrew your shower head a little bit. Who knows what I'll do? Maybe I'll unscrew your shower head and take it home. Is that what you think I'm doing when I don't use the restroom real quick? You think I have a big pile of shower heads underneath my bed. Why? What would I do with it? Who would I sell it to? Who would I sell it to? I'm wondering, hypothetically, who would I sell it to? Any takers? All right, okay, I guess not. Now I switching gears, I do love to support my fellow comedians, but there are some times when the jokes that they tell can turn into untruths. This microphone's just gonna be here, huh? Oh, there we go. And so if you'll allow me, I'd like to end the show with a little fact check of today's performers. In Zach's set, he claims that the hot dudes are always the ones who tell you to be yourself. This is untrue. For example, I never tell him to be himself. In Seth's set, he claims that his cougarette outfits would be fire. This is actually a terrible idea. Fire burns people. In Felicity's set, she claims that she's lost the password to her brain. It's password 345, all caps, no spaces. You're welcome, Felicity. Also in Felicity's set, she explains a mix-up where she thought Winston Churchill created I Want to Dance with Somebody. Just to clear things up, it was actually sung by FDR. In James's set, he claims that cats are the only animals heartless enough to live on death row. This is false. Other animals include peacocks, hippos, crocodiles, snails, hermit crabs, any kind of spider, and the turtles I had at age 6. In Lily's set, she jokes that handicap doors were created as a slight to women, and then this group clapped like that's a real thing. Like these bald men in their wheelchairs. Like your idea of the patriarchy is Professor X. In Cindy's set, she wonders if nail techs need a degree in slayology. I don't know if this is true or not. You should probably just Google it, I guess. And then finally, in Evan's set, he insulted the good name of Toy Story 2. We will always remember Toy Story 2, and Evan's mistake will be punished. That's our show, everybody. Thank you so much.